So we get into this World Heavyweight Championship match, and oh boy, and it was going so well. It was going so well between Damian Priest and Seth Rollins. And then the pinfall that wasn't. And if you didn't see it, Seth Rollins had Damian Priest pinned, and the referee stopped the count. Just out and out stopped. For some reason, Priest did not kick out, did not move. And then shortly after that, and I actually deleted the tweet because I was dead wrong. But shortly after that, the lights came up, and then Drew McIntyre came running in with the case. But boy, Zapata, the referee, just if he would have done what is normal protocol, which is whatever happens, you go with it, and had put his hand down and said, "Here's the 3 count. Seth Rollins is the world champion." What a disaster that would have been. So I give Mike Zapata a lot of credit for having the common sense. And I don't know if somebody just because I don't know if they could have reacted in time and telling him through his earpiece, don't make that 3 count. Because I'm sure he knew what was probably going on, but still, had he made that 3 count, dear Lord, it would have upset 4 different storylines at once. So it looked really bad, but at the same time, he made the right call by not putting his hand down.
I think that's true. And maybe, yes, you're right. And I've talked to plenty of referees, and that's the thing. You're working, you call what you see. So yeah, when they go down, someone makes a pin attempt, maybe they're supposed to have a kick out of 2, but if that person doesn't kick out, well, guess what? Ref's going to count 3, and that's it. But at the same time, like you said, yeah, you would have definitely upset the apple cart, so to speak. So I get it. I the, when Drew's music hits, first thing I said was, why now? Why not? Why not do like everybody else does and wait until the end of the match when whoever has won has been beaten down, then take advantage of it. That's the logical thing. But no, Drew decided he wanted to play early.
A bad decision.
Oh,
here's another that's another piece of this puzzle. That was a terrible. Who makes that decision? Of course, he's angry and fired up, so he's Drew's not thinking straight.
Well, that's
I will give him that.
And you had the ref bump after that. So it becomes a triple threat. Then you have the ref bump. Drew makes a visual 3 count. There's no ref.
Yep. So
and
then Punky Brewster comes in because of course it's no DQ.
Hey, we talked about this on my show about certainly they wouldn't have Punk mess it up before a 3rd time. They're going to put the title on Drew. That way, Seth can still challenge because see now Seth can't challenge because Damian's still the champion.
Yeah. So just and just to back up real quick, in case you didn't know the stipulations on the match and understand the calamity that would have happened had Zapata made that 3 count. Seth Rollins was, if he lost the match, was unable to challenge for the world championship.
As long as Damian still was.
As long as Damian was the champion. If Damian had lost the match, Damian was out of Judgment Day. So Damian would have lost the match. He'd have been out of Judgment Day, and Seth Rollins would have been the world champion. So the match would have been over. So Drew would have been coming in if he was going to cash in the case. Well, now he'd have been cashing in on Seth, but the whole point of Punk coming in and screwing this all up was not only to make Drew mad, but to also make Seth mad because they had already had their jaw jacking when he came back, when Punk came back in at Survivor Series. So there was a whole big tie-in, and that little tap would have just
Mhm.
screwed up everything. Because then you would have had to advance the Judgment Day story because obviously they're going to blow up soon. They foreshadowed that on the show.
Yep.
And Seth would have been the world champion. Well, how do you deal with that? Because that wouldn't have worked with Drew coming in. Why would Drew come in and go after Seth like that? Because then now you have a Money in the Bank case with Drew. You know, is Drew gonna does Drew knock off Seth? Does CM
Well,
Punk stop? Does CM Punk stop Drew from beating Seth? And now Seth is the world champion going into SummerSlam and taking on Gunther. I mean, it would have been a calamity. So yeah. So
I
but
think it was now the Seth Rollins thing and Michael Cole and Corey Graves put it over as collateral damage.
yeah.
So I think there was I don't know if it was intended that way, but
Oh, I think it
it
was.
happened.
Yeah.
Now why Drew wouldn't cash in on, or why would Drew cash in on Seth? Pure and simple. Drew beat Seth at WrestleMania. And if Punk doesn't screw him over, Drew's probably still the world champion.
Yeah.
So he wanted to prove he can beat him again. So it makes sense. The Punk thing, I mean, I laughed. I was laughing because, like I said, I'm thinking surely not going to have Punk do it a third time, and then here he comes, and there he goes, and then Damian hits the South of Heaven choke slam. 1, 2, 3. Damian's still the world champion. So I thought it was hilarious. It was just one of those things made me laugh.